Santucci. Kate is awesome. That is my introduction. Kate is a Dayton native. She's an artist, urban farmer, and singer. She is also an educator, as she and her family have been teaching her twin sons at home since their birth. She joins us tonight to tell us about their unschooling. Thank you, Kate.
Okay. Unschooling means child-led learning. That's trusting your kids to seek out what they need to learn when they're ready to learn it. The term unschooling was coined by John Holt in the 1970s to explain this kind of education. It was a direct reference to the 7-Up commercials at the time. Unschooling is child-led learning is the unschooling, like 7-Up was the uncola. My husband and I didn't really decide to unschool, it just kind of happened. We knew we wanted to homeschool, and unschooling was just kind of a good fit for us. We wanted our kids to learn at their own pace. Our goal was never to mimic school at home and try to teach them everything they needed to know, but instead teach them to learn how to learn and be autodidacts or self-learners. So, is that even legal? Yes. We follow the same rules as any other homeschooler in Ohio. Is it affordable? Yep. You can spend as much or as little money as you want, but you can't skimp on time. That's where your actual cost comes in and might not be for everyone. Unschooling is a way of life. Our job is to provide a learning-rich environment. So what does our life actually look like? Sometimes it looks like traditional school, science fair projects, history demos, bio labs. We did lots of projects with the kids when they were little, directed by them based on their interests. Kids actually ask to do these things when they're truly interested and not coerced, it's true. Sometimes our life looks a lot like play, like vacations when everyone else is in school, playing in the park, spending a day reading a book. Or it might look like work, repairing a shed, doing your laundry. Our way of life is very hands-on all the time. Kids, where am I? Because it's life, that's how we learn. Sometimes our day looks like this. It turns out teenagers need a lot of sleep, more than at any other time in their lives after infancy. Our life allows the flexibility to do this, and I'll tell you, well-rested teenagers are actually delightful to be with. I'm not kidding, we like each other. So what about socialization? Unschooling provides so many opportunities to be social with a much wider range of people than they might otherwise be exposed to. Because my kids are not sitting behind a desk for 8 hours with 25 kids their same age. They have friends of all ages from all areas of life. It takes a community to unschool. We also have a really great homeschooling group we're a part of. So my boys have been able to follow their passions from the beginning, allowing them to make lots of different friends. They're active in the community theater in Dayton. They each have a sport. They hang out with their friends and play D&D and watch movies, like teenagers. So does unschooling mean that my kids just get to do whatever they want all the time? No. We put a lot of emphasis on respect for others in our household, so they're in charge of their lives and their learning and their passions, but they are also held to high standards of responsibility. We expect that if they've made a commitment to someone else, that they're going to follow through even when they don't like it anymore. So unschooling does mean that we sometimes get to walk away from projects when we've gotten what we needed from them. Our kids really do know when they're done or bored, and when their time would be better spent doing something else, even if that means they didn't finish the math page because it was boring. So, as you can see, my son wrote that on there. Downtime is a big part of unschooling for us. My kids have a lot of unstructured and unscheduled time that they fill on their own doing things that interest them. Sometimes this looks like they're doing nothing at all. But it turns out they're usually thinking, creating, planning, or constructing stories about their twin getting squashed. So, these are the big scary ones that I always get asked about. You get to pick the one you're most afraid of because the answer is the same. Humans are inherently creative, and when you leave kids be, that creativity explodes. Math and art are two sides of the same coin. They will actually do it on their own because they find that they need it. They ask to do it. Art was my easy one. I'm an artist. I had no problem letting them go and make art however they saw fit. Usually that would happen after spending time doing nothing and then coming in and creating like mad. I just had to provide access to materials and get comfortable with mess. Math was my scary one. After flipping out more than a couple times, I realized that math happens all the time while cooking, building things, playing with Legos. A few years ago, My son was doing some computer animation and came to me and asked to learn geometry. He asked me to learn it because he thought it would help him. So the boys worked through 8 workbooks on their own without stopping, and then we had cake. So how did they ever learn to read? We never did phonics worksheets. We never did busy work. The boys learned to read because we read to them a lot. They saw us reading for fun. They saw that it was useful, and then they read when they were ready. For some kids, that happens as early as 4. For mine, it was around 8. Sometimes it's later. They learn to write the same way, by being exposed to good writing. We don't test, not ever. I don't think it provides useful information about how my kids are doing. If they're on grade level, who cares? Compared to what? Does it actually matter? My kids could lecture for hours about things they love and know inside out. When there is something that they don't know and need to, they learn it because they see the need. The first time to test my children ever took in their lives was their mid-test last winter at St. Clair in college. They both got A's on the test and in the class without practicing, drilling, or prepping for testing, ever. I'm not telling you this because I think they're prodigies, they're just normal, happy kids. It's because they don't need to practice testing in order to learn. So what about college? This is not a problem. If the boys decide to pursue a 4-year degree, we have lots of options. There are an increasing number of colleges who accept portfolios in lieu of high school transcripts, precisely because they're looking for unschoolers and those who've had a different high school experience. There are actually a lot of exciting new programs out there for continuing education into adulthood that look nothing like a traditional degree. Programs are popping up all over the country for experience-based, hands-on learning and immediate and real-life application. Uncolleging, absolutely. And a lot of these are free or very cheap, so big bonus. You already know what being an autodidact is, a self-learner. I'm standing in a room full of people who came to learn about things they'd never heard of before for fun on a weeknight. So this is the way we model learning for our kids. And I thank you for being their teacher.